Hey everybody. Check testing, check testing, check. One, two, three, four. Just checking the sound. Hey everybody. Okay. We're good to go. Welcome back to another stream. If you're new here, my name is Miguel, and welcome to another live stream from Star Wars Unlimited Universe as we prepare to dive right back into Thrawn Ascendancy Chaos Rising, the first book of the prequel books within the canon. Such a great read. Last stream that I did a reading from chapter one was probably a few days ago, and that even that chapter was done really well. This memories is going to be pretty straightforward, but there's still stuff that we can definitely talk about. But for sure, I definitely do want to mention that I'm gonna be right after the stream. Gonna be working on this Andor video, this Dedra Mirror video that technically was supposed to go out yesterday, um, and even more so today. But it's gonna have to go out tomorrow. Just been really busy over the past many hours, so it just took up my time. So, but as always, hope you all are doing well. If you feel like leaving a comment after the stream goes up and you're watching this later, be sure to welcome the comment. Be sure to leave a comment and let me know your thoughts on this next part of the Memories of Chaos Rising. If you have the book, if you have the Kindle or whatever, you can follow as I'm reading. I'm not the best reader, but as always, I'm definitely trying to do my best to work on that and be better than I was the video or stream before when it's pertaining to reading from a book. More so on the stream. But anyway, enough about me. Let's dive into this memories. Now, I was supposed to I did my pre-reading. I was supposed to jot some notes down, but I'm just gonna go off of what pops up in my head, and see what happens. But let's go. Memories 2. Let's double check on the sound. But I'm just gonna go. Okay. Excuse me. Memories 2. The journey ended, and Eliasov brought herself out of third sight into the muted light of the Chiss Defense Force transport Tamra's bridge. She lifted her hands away from the navigational controls, a hollow feeling in both stomach and heart. Senior Commander, she asked tentatively, looking at the helm officer seated beside her. We've arrived, he confirmed. Thank you. I'll take it from here. Okay, Eliasov murmured. Unstrapping, she stood up and walked across the quiet bridge to the hatch. She walked through the opening and continued down the empty corridor toward the captain's quarters, where she and her caregiver had been given space. The Tamra never went outside the Ascendancy, so it didn't have a proper Skywalker suite. Uh, Mafol Eliasov caregiver had complained about that very loudly, which had made Junior Captain Vorlip mad right back at her. And that's kind of, you're doing your job, right? And you have a frustration, but you throw your frustration towards, somebody or maybe possibly somebody that you feel like wouldn't respond in kind. You're sending, rude, raunchy or whatever. You're basically being rude, and the person isn't being rude back to you. You know what I mean? Because they currently can't, or too scared, or the you have those type of people where you work, like you probably, many of you experience that, where you work with somebody and like I said, they are rude towards somebody, ignorant or whatever, and they know they won't respond in kind. They won't send that same energy back to them because they're not challenging that, which is, again, rude. So again, he sends that towards Ailey also, and he knows that she's not going to say anything back. It's just like that's just not nice. I don't, you know what I mean? That's just not cool at all. On Eliasov's other ships, her caregiver usually met her outside the bridge and walked her back to the Skywalker suite. But after Mephol's fight with Vorlip, she declared she wouldn't leave their room until they reached Naperor, and had told Eliasov she'd be walking back and forth alone, and that sucks too because she, you know, specific people. To me, from what they're saying here is that those specific people, caregivers, or whatever, genuinely cared about, Eliasov and her safety more so, but also to the more likely cared to even walk with her and have conversation with her back and forth. But this shows me that this person doesn't care. It's just like, that's messed up. Already telling us we shouldn't like that person. And as Eliasov walked the long corridor, her eyes blurred with tears. There was no reason to have a Skywalker on this trip. She knew that. The routes within the Ascendancy weren't like the ones out in the chaos. Here, the pathways were clear, and the pilots knew how to get where they were going. So, per what this is saying, again, she's being used as basically, using her force powers to be a navigator because, this specific person who's in charge of the ship doesn't feel like going through the regular normal travel, the time and stuff like that it would take to go from one place to the next. He doesn't want to go. He just rather just make it easy. Like, it's like come on, dude. Like, that's, again, this memory is just showing us that, this specific person, we shouldn't like them because they are just wrong, rude, and it's messed up, and they're using Eliasa to their benefit, and it's not benefiting her in at all. Excuse me. Let me see. But then it goes on to say that was why the fleet had put Eliasov's test here. Trips like this were a safe way to see if a Skywalker could still do her job. Okay. Now, like I said, per the response you're reading here, you're just like, oh, that's messed up. But it shows, too, like, the person could be using her, but then the Ascendancy is using them to see more so like this is a test, this is a practice, too. But again, there are people out there that do what I'm talking about. They use specific people and stuff like that. It's just like they just use them because it makes their job easier but harder on the other person. But the pilot hadn't said anything. Neither had Junior Captain Vorlip. But Eliasov knew she hadn't been able to keep the Tamra on the right path. The pilot had to correct the course as they traveled. Her third sight was mostly gone. Her job was ended. The only life she'd ever known was over. A full year ahead of the usual schedule. Her life was over. And, per what we learn here is that there's her and there's many others who are force sensitive Chiss who eventually they will lose their force sensitivity because, again, we're not talking about a people that go through what the Jedi Academy goes through. This is the Chiss. This is their culture. This is how they use the force through these these young ladies, these girls, and eventually they pretty much just burn themselves out. They overwork them, overstimulate them, and whatever the case, and they end up eventually losing their force powers because they're not really taking the appropriate steps like how the Jedi would, where being force sensitive could last basically a lifetime, even more so a Chiss lifetime. And me personally, I did say last week in the last stream when I was talking about in chapter 1, where they did mention the Skywalkers and stuff like that. That I personally never agreed with the Chiss using their, using their kids, using their babies, the girls to use the Force in this way, so young, all of that, to where they end up basically burning themselves. Like, they use them for how many years, and then eventually they're just done or whatever. I personally don't agree with that, because at least with the Jedi, it's just one of the few things when it's pertaining to Jedi that I agree that there should be ways for them to be able to continue to be Force sensitive and stuff like that throughout their lifespan. But again, this is Chiss culture, and I can only share my opinion. I have no control over telling them, hey, you're going to stop doing this. You're going to do this over here. Moving forward. Let's see. She and then it goes on to give us her age. At age 13, she's only 13 now, and she's been a Skywalker for several years now. Are you all right? Eliasov stopped short, rubbing away the tears that had kept her from seeing the other person's approach. A young man in a black uniform stood facing her a few steps away. There weren't any insignia pins on his collar, which marked him as a cadet, and his shoulder patch had a sunrise on it. That was one of the 9 families she knew, but she couldn't remember which one. I'm fine, she said. One of her other caregivers had told her once that she should never complain about how she was feeling. Who are you? Cadet Mithral Nuru, he said, journeying to the Taharum Academy. Who are you? Eliasov, she winced, remembering too late that her identity was supposed to be kept a secret from everyone except the highest ranking officers. I'm the captain's daughter, she added, repeating the lie she was always supposed to give if anyone outside the bridge crew asked. And so it's of course to keep a secret. It's of course to, she, like I said, she forgot to not say her actual name. Was supposed to say something else. She's supposed to keep this secret because again, at this time, Thrawn is a cadet. He's not, he's not an admiral, not a grand admiral, whichever the case. You know what I mean? So she got caught up within her own emotions, and of course that does happen. We may be at a place where we try our best to emotionally save face, to try to hide, key things about ourselves when we're talking to people, or specific people that we technically don't fully trust, or even just meet. And she just, she automatically started saying stuff that she wasn't supposed to say. But here, it does say that, she's repeating a lie, just to kind of throw Thrawn off and also try to act like she's just okay, right? Thrawn's eyebrows rose just a bit, and Eliasov's sinking heart sank a little deeper. He didn't believe her. Not only was her life over, but she was probably in trouble too. I mean, it's all right, Thrawn said. What's wrong, Eliasov? Can I help? Eliasov sighed. She wasn't supposed to complain, but for once she didn't really care what she was supposed to do. I don't think so, she said. I'm just worried about, I don't know, about what I'm going to do. And this is pretty much her talking about, like, because she's at an age where her, her force powers are pretty much dwindling away fully, and now she has to make, this is the other thing too, she has to make adult Chiss decisions very soon at a very young age. And that's something that she is really, really worried about, and her emotions are very valid in during this time of her very, very, very young life. So but the conversation gets a little bit more interesting coming up. Thrawn says, I understand. Eliasov caught her breath. He figured out what she was. Her brief moment of uncaring rebellion vanished, leaving her once again fully aware that she was going to be in trouble. You do? She asked carefully. Of course, Thrawn said. All of us feel uncertainty as we travel through life. I don't know specifically what concerns you, but I assure you that all the cadets aboard this ship are also facing changes in their futures. And that was very kind of Thrawn to do, but I do believe that he is speaking truth, you know what I mean? Even speaking for himself, you know, because like I said, this is a big decision for her, but you know, he knows that, like he's saying, like it's just not, you know, basically telling her like you're really not alone. You know what I mean? Like you have every right to basically feel these emotions, these thoughts and stuff like that. You know, this is validating who you are and going in the direction that you're heading to in life. Um, then it goes on to say she felt a bit of relief. So he didn't know she was a Skywalker. But you all know where you're going, she said. You're a cadet. You're going to be in the defense force. I don't know what I'm going to do. Uh, you're you're a you're a ship's captain's daughter, Thrawn said. That will surely open many opportunities. But just because I know I'm going to be going to the academy doesn't mean there aren't a great many unknowns, and uncertainty can be the most frightening of mental states. And then, to Eliasov's surprise, Thrawn got down on one knee in front of her, putting his face a little lower to hers. Grown-ups almost never did that. Even most of Eliasov's other caregivers had usually stood straight up looking down at her. But while all of us face a variety of paths, we all have the power to choose among them. He continued, you have that power as well, the power to choose which of those paths is the right one for you. And again, like I said, this shows us that Thrawn is definitely different out of many other chiss. Like I said, per this beginning of this memories, Ed Alstoff was used to specific chiss going to and from. Again, to me, it sounded like they showed care towards her, but this is a little bit stronger of a care as a chiss person coming from Thrawn, where, yeah, like he is even more of a genuine chiss person. He's more of a genuine, even as a cadet, he realizes that, you know, she needs more than just like the book is saying, like they usually stand up and look down. He came down to her height level to really give her eye to eye contact and say, it's okay, you know, you're going to get through this. You know, what did it say? You have the power, that power as well, the power to choose which of those paths is right for you. Like literally just like helping her understand that, you know, you're, again, like I said, she's not alone. There are other cadets, there are other people, she, and then of course, like I said, you're the captain's daughter too. So extra opportunity. She has more stuff because, like we know, many of us know that it's not what you know, it's who you know when it's pertaining to like a job and positions, because you can possibly skip and jip the line too. She technically, that's what Thrawn is saying to Eliasov. She can more than likely skip and jip the line to get ahead a little bit in whatever venture she decides she wants to do after her Skywalker career is basically over with. So it's just like, you know, but to her, I do feel like to her, she possibly feels like it's still more pressure because, you know, she's up here while everybody's a little bit lower, probably way lower than her, but she still feels like pressure from both sides of really trying to figure out what she wants to do. So it's just like, yeah, this is definitely diving into some really interesting and very deep conversations when it's pertaining to both reality and fiction. Let's see. She goes on to say, I don't know. Ellie also said, feeling the tears start up again. What kind of choices did a 13-year-old fail? Did a 13-year-old failed Skywalker even have? No one had talked much to her about that. And yeah, that's also hard. Again, like I said, just a baby, right? She has to make some really big adult decisions at this age, roughly a few months to roughly walking into age 14. She's not even an adult yet. You know what I mean? So yeah, yeah. But thank you for what's going on here. The harsh voice of Junior Captain Vorlip came from behind her. Who are you, and what are you doing here? Cadet Mithron Nero, uh, Thrawn said as he quickly stood up. I was exploring the ship when I came upon your daughter. She seemed distressed. So this is Pops, right? Like, Pops. Come on, son. I was exploring the ship when I came upon your daughter. She seemed distressed, and I stopped to offer assistance. You're not supposed to be in this corridor, Vorlip said sternly. She walked past. Oh, okay. So Vorlip is a woman. That's my apologies. I thought Vorlip was a guy. She walked past Eliasov and stopped in front of Thrawn. Didn't you see the authorized personnel only signs? I assume they were intended to stop non-military personnel, Thrawn said. As a cadet, I thought I would be exempt. Well, you aren't, Vorlip said. You're supposed to be back with the other cadets. My apologies, Thrawn said. I merely wished to get the feel of the ship. He bowed his head and started to turn away. So like mom, you know what I mean, is being like wrong, rude towards her daughter. Like, yeah, because like I said, that's my apology. I forgot that Vorlip was a woman, and that she Eliasov was her daughter, and this is like she was treating her daughter to me not nice, not good. Like I said, having her go by herself. Maybe the intent that her mother was trying to do was to not have her get used to doing something specific all the time. Like she basically telling, like kind of maybe possibly even trying to rush her to be a little bit more grown, to say, well, you're in this position here, you're doing a job, you have to figure out how to get back and forth from, each sides of the ships and stuff like that. But again, I think too, because she's treating her probably more so like a Skywalker more than her daughter, which is, it can be understandable because a lot of times you have family working in business and you try to have a professionalism about yourself, that yes, I know that this is my family or this is my daughter or son or whatever, but when we're at work, we are in positions together. We're not, we're mother daughter, father daughters, son father, son mother at home, and that's where it's at home. But when we're at work, I'm the president, CEO, captain, whatever. You're the underling under me. And I rereading this memory kind of gives me that feel that that's what her mother Vorlip was looking to do with Eliasov. But at the same time, I'm like, well, I get it, but come on, just let your daughter have that, because again, this is your daughter, right? Keep her protected. Have her go back and forth with somebody just in case. You know what I mean? So yeah, some people may feel like you may feel like what I was talking about with the the professionalism, like, oh well, she has to go by herself because there's no, I can't treat her like my daughter while I'm at work. She's my Skywalker type of thing. And then you may agree with me in saying that, well, still protect your baby, protect your child, have somebody walk with her back and forth just in case. So yeah, once Thrawn decides to move, this tries to attempt to move, Vorlip put out her arm to block his path. What do you mean, the feel of the ship? I wanted to study its rhythms, Thrawn said. The deck had subtle vibrations that reflect the ebb and flow of the thrusters. Our movement through hyperspace was punctuated by slight hesitations and swells. The airflow indicates small variations as we change direction. The compensators occasionally lag slightly behind course changes with effects that are again transmitted through the deck. And that again, this is letting you know that like Thrawn is more likely one of the many few people on the ship that are literally looking at the detailing stuff of the ship. This ties back into Thrawn studying art. He's also studying the ship, because again, anything happens, he's more than likely saying like, if something's wrong or this, that, and the third, maybe I can have an understanding and be able to help if something bad goes on or we're attacked or this, that, and the third. Again, he's studying the ins and outs, which he definitely did on his Chimera. So here on this ship, he's basically doing the same thing. Really, Vorlip said. She didn't seem as angry now. How many space flights have you had before this one? None, Thrawn said. This is my first voyage away from home. Is it? Vorlip stepped close to him. Close your eyes. Keep them closed until I tell you otherwise. Thrawn closed his eyes. Vorlip took him by the upper arms and without warning began spinning him around. Thrawn's arms flailed outward with surprise. His feet stumbled, trying to keep up with his body's movements. Vorlip kept him spinning and also slowly moved around with him. When she was a third of the way from where she started, she caught his arms and brought him to a stop. Eyes still closed, she said, holding him steady. Which way is forward? Thrawn was silent for a moment. Then he raised his hand and pointed toward the Talmar's bow. There, he said. Vorlip kept holding him for a second. Then she let go and moved a step back. You can open your eyes, she said. Return to your quarters and don't ever pass that kind of sign until you're damn sure you're allowed. Yes, Captain, Thrawn said. He blinked a couple of times as he finished his balance and he nodded to Vorlip, nodded and smiled to Eliasov, then turned and left. Now, when I read this, it makes me wonder, like, what would have been Vorlip's, like, what would have been her response had he pointed in the wrong direction? This lets us know that one, Thrawn was paying attention to the ship. He was, checking out details and stuff. He was very attuned to where the actual spot was, the bow and stuff like that. But my question in this moment, very small, I think many of us can wonder, is what would have been her response, and would she have done something to him had he pointed in the wrong direction? But that's just something that I'm, still questioning to this day. You know what I mean? In this moment. I'm sorry, Eliasov said quietly. It's all right, Vorlip said. She was still looking at Thrawn. Are you mad at him? Eliasov asked. He was only trying to help me. I know. Are you mad at me? Vorlip turned and gave her a small smile. No, of course not, she said. You've done nothing wrong. But Eliasov stopped, feeling confused. I'm not mad at anyone, Vorlip said. It's just, it took me 15 voyages in 4 different ships before I developed that kind of awareness. This Mithron Neuro did it in 1. Again, this is showing us that Thrawn is very in tune to his, like Liam Neeson's character in Batman Begins, where he was talking to Christian Bale, Bruce, when he said you gotta mind your surroundings. This is what the Ra's al Ghul character, this is what Thrawn did. He minded his surroundings. He knew exactly where the bow was. And she's saying to her daughter, like, it took me 15 voyages to really figure this out. He did it in 1. That's letting us know that Thrawn's that Chiss dude, that guy, the legend. Is that strange? Very, Vorlip assured her. He seems nice, Eliasov said. She paused, thinking about what he'd said about paths. What happens to me when I leave here? You'll be adopted, Vorlip said, probably into one of the 9 ruling families. They like to have former Skywalkers. Why? It's a prestige thing, Vorlip said. I'm sure you realize that girls with your ability are very rare. It's an honor for one of you to be made a merit adoptive. And this is letting us know, but more so definitely letting Eliasov know that, one, not only because she's the captain's daughter, she's Vorlip's daughter, but two, the fact that she's a force sensitive, they are holding her in a much higher regard. Eliasov is, worried about what she's gonna do next, but her mother saying like, look, there's nothing really to worry about too much, not all the way. It's just the fact that you have a higher chance than many others do at continuing in a specific route that's gonna more than likely go in a up up a hill compared to a steady and down slope of a life. But again, I feel like she knew, but her emotion stuff maybe more than likely just like helped her forget that there's because I kind of feel like her mother was telling her, but it was slipping her mind even. Ellie also felt her throat tighten. Even when we're no use to anyone, don't say things like that, Vorlip said sternly. Every person is valuable. My point is that you'll be welcomed into whatever family adopts you. They'll take care of you, send you on to further education, and eventually find a career that you're best suited for. Unless they throw me out. I told you to stop talking like that, Vorlip said. They're not going to throw you out. Your prestige for the family, remember? Yes, Eliasov said. She still didn't completely believe it, but there was no use talking anymore about it. But there was one more point. Do I get to choose which family I want? Vorlip frowned. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know any of the details about how these things are done. Why are you looking? Why are you looking at a specific family? Yes, Eliasov said. The myth. She's deciding to wanting to go there, right? Who is per the past chapter in memory, who's getting ready to join the myth? Yeah, our homie Thrawn. Really? Vorlip glanced over her shoulder. Like Cadet Thrawn? Yes. Vorlip puffed out a thoughtful breath. As I say, I don't know how it works, but there's certainly no reason you can't ask. Actually, now that I think about it, a former Skywalker with your record should be able to ask for whatever you want. Again, this is letting us know that Eliasov doesn't have that much to really worry about, but again, with her young mind, she doesn't understand and realize the true position that she's in. But at the same time, I still honestly can say that her, emotions are still valid, because even if she gets to choose the myth and this that, she don't know what. It's still like Thrawn said, it's still an unknown. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Let's see. And there it was. Vorlip had said it. Former Skywalker. Eliasov's navigational career was officially over. But strangely, it suddenly didn't seem to matter so much now. That's what he said, she told Vorlip. He said I'd be able to choose my path. Well, Cadet say all sorts of things, Vorlip said, dismissing both Thrawn and the conversation with a wave of her hand. Come, I need you and your caregiver in my office. There are forms we need to fill out. Mithron Nuru. He'd named himself. Eliasov reminded herself as she and the captain walked. Mithron Nuru. She would remember that. And when that time came, the Myth family would definitely be getting a request. That ends Memories 2 from Chaos Rising. We're going to walk into Chapter 2. Probably going to do Chapter 2 maybe tomorrow. If not, then going to push for Sunday, because I feel like I want to dive into the next chapter for sure. But again, like I said, there was still stuff to talk about, because it was more focused on Eliasov's and her mindset, her thinking. Again, she's young, she's still a baby, right? And she has to make like these adult decisions at a very young age, and we know that even in reality that many kids have to make some very adult decisions at a very young age. because they have no choice but to do it right, because life throws them curveballs and it just sucks, right? But even here in with this specific character, she's still worried, and I feel like she's, like I said, she's probably still going to be worried because it's still the unknown. She's going to be looking to push to make a request to go to the myth where Thrawn is, and then see what happens there. But again, she still has every right to be maybe cautious, scared, confused, whatever's going on in her brain with her emotion stuff. She has every right to feel all those things when walking into the next stage of her life. As again, like I said, the Chiss use up these the Skywalkers. They use up their force sensitivity powers. They use it up, a lot, quickly sometimes even, and then they move to something else, or they move away from. You know what I mean? So, if they did do like the Jedi did, then yes, there would be plenty of many force sensitives in within the Chiss as adults, but that's not the case. Um, but at the same time, I always believe in multiple universe type stuff, and I feel like in an alternate in another dimension, in an alternate universe, the Chiss, many or all of the Chiss are force sensitive, or at least I would say just many of them. And honestly, I believe that Thrawn is force sensitive. Technically he is force sensitive because due to how the force operates, stuff like that. Thrawn is a living being. The force flows through every living being, which I'm going to be doing a video about anyway. But I'm just saying, like, Thrawn is force sensitive, but I'm just saying, in an alternate universe, many of the Chiss, including Thrawn, would be force sensitive, very powerful, and be able to really do, use the force. But yeah, Nick. Oh, what's going on? What's going on, Nick? How are you? I just received this shirt. Got it from Redbubble, and the hat too. Both of them. Got both of these in the mail this week from the site called Redbubble, but I got it during their sale. Hold on, give me a second. I can even show you, because I usually get that now, because again I'm doing things a little bit smarter. I don't just purchase hats and shirts on this site at during their regular prices. And look at that. Oh man, they have another percentage off. You're in luck, Nick. Let me it's 30% off right now. Redbubble. It's called Redbubble. They have an app. Download the app. Go and get the hat and the shirt, whichever. They do the afterpay thing that I use, the layaway thing to pay off like hats and shirts over 4 weeks or 6 to 8 weeks, because you don't have to do every week payments. You can do bi-weekly payments. Hold on, give me a second. I'm trying to find. Hold on. Here we go. Order history. Give me a second. Okay. So on Redbubble, I don't know if you'll be able to see it. Yeah, you still heard it. Just want to make sure. So, yeah. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. It's kind of blurry and stuff. But there's the hat. Give me a second. I can change the color so that it'll pop up a little bit better. So again, this is the baseball cap. They're doing the 30% off of stuff. This one looks like it's 20% off, but it's $18 for the hat. I don't know if you can see it or not. And it's in black. Like I said, it's in black. Yeah, it's in black. Baseball hat. Cause I don't know if you can see the, because again, it's a little blurry. Here, let me turn this light off real quick. Maybe that'll be better. Maybe, I don't know. Do they have a Give me a second, dude. Let me see something. Do they have a? They don't. They probably don't. I was gonna try to like the site itself. They may not have a what you call it. No. But anyway, yeah, that's where I got it from. It's $18 currently because we're doing the sale. 30 or this the hat was 20%. Okay, cool. And the shirt, I want to say the shirt's 30% off. Looks like it's 20. No, 30% off. This one here is $15 right now. There's the shirt. This is the classic version. This is the one that I'm wearing. They have different versions. They have like active, graphic. Graphic ones are usually higher in price. The active one is a little higher, but this one is I usually get the classic shirts from their sites, and like I said, this one's $15. So, but yeah, man, go get this. Go to the Redbubble and get this shirt right now while it's on sale. That's what I was saying. That's what I was trying to say a couple of minutes ago. Like, I'm doing things a little bit smarter when it's pertaining to my money. Kind of have to anyway, because life's kicking my butt, and I got some stuff that I got to handle personally with my money. So, so yeah, I had to finally get me an Andor, at least there's other Andor shirts on that site. They don't just have Ferrex. They have and there's other colored Andor insignia hats too. Yeah, you're definitely welcome. There's a Rebels insignia hat. Yeah, there's a Chila hat and shirt that I'm gonna get. This is per Thrawn, per his planet, home planet and stuff. So yeah, I was just like, I gotta get at least I gotta get this shirt and hat real quick. So like I said, they just came in the mail this week, so I'm glad about that. Finally got this joint and was able to wear it today. Um, but yeah, if you're watching, besides this live stream, if you're watching, go to Redbubble. They got a sale going. Do what you want with your money, but I'm always encouraging people, hey, go for the sales, save some money, you know what I mean, and enjoy the product that you're purchasing. Hopefully you'll enjoy it, because we know that a lot of times when stuff gets shipped in, one of my recent hats that I just got in the mail like a couple of weeks ago came in a little discombobulated, but I fixed it. It was a hat. It was an anime hat that I ordered, but I was able to fix it, because otherwise I would have had to send it back and get another one. But yeah, the book is a fun read. Just finalized reading Memories 2. Like I said, per the Memories chapter, Memories 2, focal point was more so on Elias stuff, talking about, it just gave us what, the gist of what Skywalkers did. They were force sensitive, just like the Jedi. They take them young. They use their force sensitivity, but they the Chiss culture just doesn't they just don't realize that they can make use this specific key power to their benefit. Like, that's the crazier thing that I'm gonna more likely do a video on. That they could have been even more like powerful, efficient, sufficient, all of that when it's pertaining to having these powers, being force sensitive. And they could have really had an advantage in the many battles and wars that they did fight, had they understood what the Jedi understood. Because the Jedi knew that if you kept using the Force, that over time, you can really wear yourself out, and you can't use it for a good while. Because again, the body needs rest, it needs food, it needs all this stuff. All of these things to be able to continue to maintain the power, and keep it with you, throughout your lifetime. And the Chiss didn't. I'm surprised that they didn't understand that. This is one of the things that I'm continuing to learn about. This very, very intriguing and very, very dope culture. That again, that they technically were, human beings at a point, but eventually over time, over decades, they turned into this Chiss culture, due to something that happened many, 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 many moons ago. So that's why I'm saying, like, I'm once again still shocked that they did not take this power and figure out, like, oh, we don't want them, we don't want the Skywalkers to lose this power, because many of them do go into the military, right? And then of course, like Vorla was telling her daughter Eliasov, that they're gonna, they do indeed join the 9 ruling families. Could have been a benefit if they really understood that they needed to really grab a hold of this power and make it last for really truly generations. So yeah, indeed, yeah, interesting stuff. But Nick, did I ask you how you are? If I didn't ask you how you're doing, please forgive me. How are you? Hope you're doing well today on this Friday. If it's Friday, some people are. It could be early morning for you on the other side of the world, because it's evening time for me. It's almost 5:30 p.m. I'm on the East Coast, and I have to. Only got a few hours left before I go to bed, because I gotta work this weekend. Technically the next 4 days before I'm off again next Wednesday. But I will say next Wednesday I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I might do a stream, or definitely put some couple videos together. But it just depends. I'm supposed to go visit my uncle next week on my day off. But we'll see. I might still try to do a stream that evening. Maybe a reading more of this awesome, wonderful book. But yeah, I do have, like I said, I gotta have an Andor video. Then we'll work on right after the stream. I originally did a recording, but I gotta rehash it. It's about Dedra again, but I need to just rehash the recording, and then that will go out tomorrow. It was supposed to go out today, but I've just been busy since yesterday. So I'm just trying to really figure out what I'm gonna do next, and then I'm gonna I might do that Chiss video tomorrow, Sunday, because I do want to get a video out on Monday. So I might do that video tomorrow. But if I do the Dedra video and I get that done within like an hour, I might do that video tonight. That way it will go up on Monday. That will be one less video that I gotta do. But for sure, tomorrow after work or Sunday after work, it just depends. I might, like I said, I might dive into chapter 3 uh, of Chaos Rising on either tomorrow or I'm sorry, not I'm sorry. Wait, is it chapter? Give me 1 second. Chapter 2. Sorry. Yeah, I might read chapter 2 tomorrow after work. If I do it tomorrow, that'll be better. But we'll see what happens. It all depends. I might, as long as I'm not doing overtime at work tomorrow. We'll see. But yeah, Hope you all had a good week, great week, humbling week. Stay strong as best as you can. We know that life throws you curveballs. A lot of them, those curveballs could be really hurtful, hard, you know, life crushing curveballs. But you got to do your best to keep moving, keep pushing. Do your best to keep a humble mind, humble heart, because you just never know, what life may throw your way. But I'm actually about to get ready to get out because my neighbors are washing clothes. You probably hear it in the background. Um, yeah, but that's a whole nother issue that I'm not going to dive into. But I'm getting ready to be out. So Nick, dude, thanks for stopping by. Go, like I said, if you haven't gotten a chance, remember, go to Redbubble. It's one word. Download the app. They have a 20% off, 30% off right now. Because I'm really tempted to order another shirt. But I'm not going to do it because my funds are low. I got to, you know, really can't buy anything right now. But I'm out. Enjoy the rest of your evening, noon, and night. Stay safe, guys. Stay humble. And remember, the Force will be with you.